Have you always wanted to start a podcast, but you're over 40 and you're really struggling to find the confidence to start? That was me, and in this video, I'm going to tell you how I overcame it and how you can too. I'm Dan Smith, a professional podcast editor. Now, I overcame my fears, started my own podcast in my 40s, and it transformed my life and my career. Today, I'll share how you can overcome self-doubt and take the first steps to start creating your own show. Now, I never realized how much I was crippled by fear until I started trying to put myself out there. I've always had a great love of podcasts and dreamed of starting my own, but I would sit with my phone in my hand, voice notes on record, just frozen, unable to even speak. And this was the case for about a year, where I would just be frozen in time and not able to even begin recording a podcast. And I realized that it was down to fear, and mainly the fear of judgment of others. And something probably carried my whole life, much like I'd imagine a lot of people have. And my epiphany moment came just after I'd had my first child, my son. And I would hold him and sing to him to comfort him. Now, when I say sing, I would probably be humming the Jurassic Park theme tune. I'm not quite the singer, but I realized that I had no thought about judgment. No thought that he might be judging me. And in that moment, nothing and no one else mattered to me apart from him and comforting him. And I didn't care what anyone thought about me. And in that moment, I realized that I felt free, and it kind of put everything else into perspective as to why I shouldn't be afraid of doing what I think is the right thing to do and what is the best thing to do for me and for my family. And the fear of others' judgment just, it doesn't matter. It has no relevance to what the actions I should take. Now, after that, I made it my mission to overcome fear and do what I believe to make my now 2 kids proud. So I took back my phone, hit record, and I started talking. Now, those first recordings were weird. They didn't sound right. They sounded awful, to be honest. And the recordings didn't really make any sense either. It was just garble. It was nonsense. It was just me whittering on. But the more I spoke, the easier it became, the better it sounded, the more competent it sounded. And once I'd got over that initial fear and been able to talk more naturally, I was able to get full episodes out there. And once it was recorded, publishing the episode, getting it out there, that was the easy bit. It's a lot easier to hit a button and say, I don't care what people think about me, and just do it, than it is to speak for a long period of time, constantly thinking, I don't care what people can think about me. After publishing, there was a lot of realizations of what or who I was fearing and their judgment. And it was all people that are irrelevant to me, and became a bit laughable as to why I'd be afraid of these people's judgment, because there was no one that was close to me or in my life. And why does it matter what they think about me, as long as the people I care about are proud of me? And also what came after publishing, with the amount of positivity I got, not necessarily from people saying, oh, isn't your podcast brilliant, but just the positivity of friends and family saying how proud they were of me for doing something like that, and how they couldn't do it because it's too scary and everything that came with that. And it was just a constant positive support from people every time I saw them that had seen what I'd done, whether they'd listened to it or just seen that I'd just got myself out there and done it. And I wasn't expecting that. And it was amazing, really, to get that back from people. And I think that kind of goes to show that you can sit and be afraid and fear, but when you do put yourself out there, the people that matter, the people that count in your lives, will be there to support you, and they will be proud of you, no matter how good your product is that you put out there. Because I think, as well as the fear of others, I think a lot of people, especially over 40, are fearing being bad at something, because at our age, you've probably got to the point in your life where you're quite comfortable in your job and your career, or whatever you do, and you've perhaps become an expert in it, and your daily routines, you're not fearing what you're doing because you've done it for so long that you can quite confidently be good at it. So doing something new like a podcast is a huge fear in the fact that you may be bad at it. And it's getting over that fear and being bad at something in the first place to then get good at it. When you're young, I think, no one expects you to be good at something because you're starting out. But when you're over 40, you're expected to be experienced in something. You're not expected to be new at something. But if you're like me, you wanted to start something new when you're over 40, and you have to start somewhere. You have to be bad, and people realize that, and people will support you in that, people that matter in your life. And if you get over that fear, you'll find freedom, and freedom to do what you want to do and what matters to you and the people that matter in your life. And if you're doing that, it will bring you happiness. So get over that fear, hit record, start that podcast that you've always wanted to start, and it'll bring you the freedom to do what you want, to say what you want, and you'll gain great happiness from that for you and everyone around you. If you're looking to start a podcast, leave a comment. Let me know what your fears are. Let me know what your podcast is going to be about. I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to help you get over those fears.